For a time, it was the most recognizable submachine gun on Earth. More than 10 million have been produced, arming soldiers, police, and security forces in over 90 countries. The weapon was born from desperation, designed by a fledgling nation fighting for its survival. Built from stamped steel and engineered for simplicity, it was compact, reliable, and devastatingly effective. So much so that it would come to define an entire class of firearms. The Uzi was more than a submachine gun. It became a symbol of national ingenuity, a weapon that armed the new state and then spread across the world. So how did a firearm forged in the chaos of Israel's founding become the most iconic, compact weapon of the 20th century? The birth of this weapon is inseparable from the birth of the nation that created it. In the aftermath of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, the newly formed state of Israel found itself in a precarious position. Its military, the Israel Defense Forces, was equipped with a chaotic assortment of surplus World War II weapons: British Sten guns, German MP-40s, and American Thompsons. Each used different ammunition, different magazines, and different spare parts, creating a logistical burden a young nation could scarcely afford. Israel needed a domestic submachine gun, one that was cheap to mass produce, simple to maintain, and brutally reliable under battlefield conditions. The challenge was taken up by an IDF captain named Uziel Gal, a German-born Jew who had fled to the British Mandate of Palestine before the war. Gal was driven by a mix of patriotism and practical necessity. He had seen firsthand the IDF's desperate need for a standardized weapon and believed he could design something not merely comparable to existing guns but fundamentally better. In 1949, he began sketching his design. His vision was a weapon that was radically compact, incredibly safe, and simple enough to be used by the citizen soldiers of a conscript army. He submitted his prototype to the IDF, where it competed against a more conventional design backed by senior IDF officers, including Major General Israel Tal. After months of punishing field trials, Gal's unconventional weapon prevailed. In 1951, it was officially adopted. The weapon was named the Uzi, against Gal's own wishes. He had not sought personal recognition. What he had created was more than a firearm. He had given a new nation a reliable instrument of survival. Uziel Gal's design was a masterclass in pragmatic innovation, a weapon built around two brilliant space-saving concepts. The first was a telescoping bolt. In traditional submachine guns like the Thompson, the bolt sat entirely behind the barrel, forcing the weapon into a long, linear layout. Gal, drawing inspiration from jet designs such as the Sabese 23 series, allowed the bolt to wrap around the rear of the barrel itself. This made it possible to seat the barrel deeper into the receiver, dramatically shortening the weapon without sacrificing barrel length or accuracy. The second innovation worked in perfect harmony with the first, placing the magazine inside the pistol grip. Also pioneered by Czech designs, this configuration centralized the weapon's mass, giving it excellent balance and allowing it to be controlled easily with one hand. It also made reloading instinctive. The shooter's hand naturally found the magazine well, even in darkness. Chambered in the 9x19mm Parabellum cartridge, the Uzi was a practical and logistical choice. The 9mm was widely available, produced in massive quantities around the world, and generated relatively low recoil, ideal for a compact, controllable submachine gun. The weapon fired from an open bolt, a simple and reliable system in which the bolt moves forward, chambers around, and fires it in a single motion. Its construction reflected the same philosophy. The receiver was made from heavy-gauge stamped steel rather than complex milled parts, making it cheap, durable, and fast to manufacture. Safety was addressed through a layered system: a manual selector, a grip safety that had to be depressed to fire, and a ratchet mechanism on the charging handle to prevent accidental discharge if the bolt slipped. That simplicity came with trade-offs. The open bolt design and short sight radius limited accuracy at longer distances, reinforcing the Uzi's purpose. It was not meant to be a general-purpose firearm. It was engineered from the ground up for close quarters combat. In 1956, the fledgling nation of Israel went to war. And for the first time, it did so with a weapon of its own design. During the Suez Crisis, Israeli paratroopers carried the new submachine gun into combat, conducting a daring airborne assault into the Sinai Peninsula. Compact, rugged, and easy to handle, the weapon proved ideally suited for paratroopers and armored crews alike. With its stock folded, it was perfect for use inside vehicles and in tight urban spaces. In the close quarters fighting that followed, its performance was exemplary, and its stamped steel construction showed remarkable resistance to sand, dust, and desert grit. The Uzi had proven itself in combat, and its reputation began to grow. By the time of the Six-Day War in 1967, it had become the IDF's primary submachine gun, issued to infantry, armored units, and special forces. One of the war's most enduring images shows Israeli paratroopers armed with Uzis fighting through the old city of Jerusalem and reaching the Western Wall, an image that would permanently link the weapon to Israel's modern military identity. Battlefield success soon translated into global demand. Backed by a shrewd export strategy from Israel military industries, the Uzi surged onto the international market. It was inexpensive, reliable, and readily available, qualities few nations could ignore. Armed forces and police agencies in more than 90 countries adopted it. The Netherlands became the first major foreign customer in 1956, followed by West Germany, which issued the Uzi to the new Bundeswehr as the MP2. It was produced under license in Belgium by FN Herstal and in South Africa as the S1. Even the United States Secret Service adopted the weapon, valuing its compact size and high volume of fire for close protection roles. The Uzi became a critical source of revenue for the State of Israel, a small nation that was now a major player in the global arms market. As the Uzi cemented its status as the world's most widely used submachine gun, a new challenger emerged from West Germany, one built on a completely different design philosophy: the Heckler and the Koch MP5. Uziel Gal's Uzi was a weapon of simplicity. It was inexpensive, stamped from steel, and fired from an open bolt, designed for mass production and absolute reliability in the hands of conscript soldiers. When the trigger was pulled, a heavy bolt surged forward, chambered around, and fired in a single violent motion. The result was durability and firepower, but at the cost of precision, especially on the first shot. The H&K MP5 represented the opposite approach. It was a finely machined, closed-bolt weapon that used Heckler & Koch's sophisticated roller-delayed blowback system, derived from the J3 battle rifle. With the round already chambered, pulling the trigger simply released the hammer. The first shot was clean, stable, and exceptionally accurate. It was more like a rifle than a traditional submachine gun. The MP5 was a weapon designed for elite counter-terrorist and special operation units, a new type of force that emerged in the 1970s. This created a clear divide in design philosophy. The Uzi prioritized simplicity, durability, and volume of fire, making it well suited for conventional armies and close quarters combat where reliability mattered more than precision. The MP5 was built for a different role. Its closed bolt system and roller delayed action allowed for a far higher degree of accuracy, particularly on the first shot. This made it ideal for counter-terrorism and hostage rescue operations, where controlled precise fire was essential. As international terrorism increased in the 1970s, high-profile operations by units such as Germany's GSG-9 and the British SAS brought new attention to the MP5 strengths. A distinct market emerged for a submachine gun designed specifically for elite units rather than mass armies. While the Uzi continued to serve conventional forces around the world, the MP5 became the preferred weapon of specialized counter-terrorism and special operation units. The era of unquestioned dominance was over. The market that the Uzi had once defined was now being reshaped by a new standard, one that valued refinement and accuracy over simplicity and scale. The moment that defined the Uzi's global image unfolded on a Washington, D.C. sidewalk. On the 30th of March 1981, a single image seared the Uzi into the global consciousness. In the chaotic aftermath of the assassination attempt on President Ronald Reagan, Secret Service agent Robert Manco was photographed deploying a full-size Uzi while securing the president's evacuation, creating a protective perimeter around the president's limousine. That image transformed the firearm overnight. It became the visual shorthand for close protection, the signature weapon of the elite bodyguard. Throughout the 1980s, the Uzi, especially its compact variants, became a fixture of action cinema. It appeared in films like The Terminator,
Uzi 9mm. You know your weapons, buddy.
And quickly spread across television, video games, and pop culture, reinforcing its association with professionalism, danger, and authority. Its legacy was later summarized by U.S. Marine veteran and small arms expert David M. Forsher, who observed that the Uzi was the product of a unique historical moment. The Uzi was a weapon designed for a citizen soldier, for a nation where every man and woman could be called to fight a moment's notice. Its simplicity was its genius. The weapon itself remained unchanged, but its meaning had split between the Israeli soldier defending a new nation and the American Secret Service agent shielding a president. This new icon also carried a darker reputation, one rooted in the very qualities that made it so successful: compact size and high volume of fire. As the weapon spread across the world, it was not adopted only by states. Non-state actors, Latin American drug cartels, European terrorist organizations such as Italy's Red Brigades, and various insurgent movements gravitated toward the Uzi for the same reasons as professional forces: concealability, durability, and readily available 9x19mm ammunition. In the United States, the firearm became entangled in the machine pistol panic of the 1980s. Civilian variants like the semi-automatic Uzi carbine and the oversized Uzi pistol became highly visible symbols of urban crime and gang violence, alongside similar designs such as the Intratec Tech 9. This notoriety culminated in the Uzi being specifically named in the 1994 federal assault weapons ban, further cementing its controversial public image. The weapon's core design also had a controversial element. The open bolt firing system prioritizes simplicity and reliability, but at the cost of first-shot precision compared to closed bolt designs. It also carries a theoretical safety risk, a phenomenon known as slam firing to the curve of a weapon with a loaded magazine and a closed bolt is dropped hard enough. The bolt can jolt rearward and then slam forward under spring pressure, chambering and firing around without the trigger being pulled. While rare and typically associated with worn or improperly maintained weapons, critics noted that open bolt systems carried this theoretical risk, despite the Uzi's layered safety features. By the late 20th century, the Uzi occupied a unique and uncomfortable dual identity, a weapon associated both with elite protection details and with the imagery of urban violence. The Uzi's initial success was not an endpoint. It was the foundation for an entire platform of more specialized compact weapons. In 1980, Israel Military Industries introduced the Mini Uzi. It was a smaller, lighter version of the original, with a higher rate of fire of 950 rounds per minute and a side-folding stock, designed for special forces and undercover units. This was followed in 1986 by the Micro Uzi, an even smaller machine pistol-sized version with a blistering rate of fire of 1,200 rounds per minute. As operational priorities shifted toward precision, IMI would later produce closed-bolt versions of the smaller variants in an effort to remain competitive with weapons like the MP5. However, by the 1990s and 2000s, the classic Uzi design was losing relevance in frontline military service. The rise of short-barreled 5.56mm carbines like the M4 offered soldiers a weapon that was nearly as compact as a submachine gun but fired a rifle cartridge with vastly superior range, accuracy, and the ability to defeat modern body armor. For units that still required a pistol-caliber weapon, the more accurate close-bolt MP5 had become the global standard. But the Uzi's most profound legacy is its influence on a generation of compact submachine gun experiments. The telescoping bolt and magazine in the grip layout became the template for countless other compact submachine guns, in including the American Ingram Mac-10 and the Austrian Steyr MPI-69. Even today, the polymer-framed Uzi Pro reflects the continued evolution of Gal's original concept. However, by the late Cold War, military doctrine itself was changing. It moved on toward longer engagement distances and requirements that pistol-caliber weapons were never meant to meet. The Uzi story is one of pragmatic design rising the global stage. A weapon born from a nation's fight for survival became an international symbol of close protection. For the Israeli soldiers who first carried it, the Uzi was a dependable tool, simple, rugged, and resilient, mirroring the conditions under which the nation itself was forged. It was designed not for elegance, but for survival. For the elite security forces that later adopted it, the Uzi represented something new, proof that compactness and firepower could coexist in a single controllable weapon. It helped define a new category of firearms suited to modern close-range threats. These identities, the national weapon of survival and a global icon of security, are not separate stories. They are the same story told in different contexts, driven by the same principle of effective design. And that is the Uzi's lasting significance. It embodies not just military capability, but the necessity-driven innovation of a nation that had no choice but to get it right. Its era of frontline service has passed, but its influence has not. The Uzi endures as the definitive compact weapon of the 20th century.